Jags fans, what up? It's your boy Ruben. You know what it is. Been a minute. It's been, what, couple weeks, 2, 3, I don't know. We had the conference championship round last week. The week before was when we last played. Took that L to the Chiefs. We lost to basically the AFC representative and possibly the Super Bowl champions. I don't think that's a bad place to be at. But I got a comment on what is going around. A lot of us are really into the whole Jalen Ramsey coming back to Jacksonville story. I don't know why. And I've been in some of these groups and I've been imploring us, listen guys, we got to have some pride, okay? And by pride, what I mean is he quit on us. There's some of you guys that are making, the excuse that we didn't treat him well and yada, yada, yada. And that's one thing. But what I mean by have some pride is, right, you got a player, and Jalen Ramsey, I believe, is an outstanding NFL player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's fallen off a little bit. I think he's a head case. But ultimately, I think he's a premier talent. I think he's a top 5 corner. I don't know if he's the preeminent corner anymore, but definitely a top 5 corner possibly, right? But what I mean by have some pride is the way this city has turned their back on Tom Coughlin is just mind-blowing to me. So we all decided with Jalen Ramsey based on what he said and turned our back on the coach that has taken this team to the AFC Championship game on more than one occasion and has been responsible for the majority of the success that we've known as the Jacksonville Jaguars organization. And the way we've turned our back for, a legacy guy like Tom Coughlin on the behalf of a single player that a single great player that we drafted, I think shows how starved for great players we have been. And I think it's a little embarrassing. I understand that Tom Coughlin didn't quite play by the rules, but you need to understand that I don't want to get into how old I am, but I want to say I'm somewhere in between old school and new school. And what I mean by that is that I understand that I'm kind of in between where old school is like, this generation operates like somebody owes them something. People don't want to put in the work and don't understand that to achieve greatness, the work has to be done, right? And what I mean by that is Tom Coughlin has been notoriously hard on football players and it's notoriously gotten the best results. Tony Baselius and them have talked about the grueling training camps, and life was so much harder back then. But you saw us upset the Broncos. You saw us go 14-2 with Tom Coughlin. You saw us go to the AFC Championship game, and in my opinion, they should have been in the Super Bowl playing the Rams instead of the Titans if we just didn't completely implode in the championship game. And then you saw Tom Coughlin come back as an executive, and you saw him change the culture, and we immediately went back to the AFC Championship game. I think the proof is in the pudding. Now, did he not adjust to the rules? And again, I'm in between. I'm not saying he did everything right. But if you're going to give me it's him or him, I'm riding with Tom Coughlin. Jalen Ramsey hasn't done a damn thing for us in comparison, right? All he's done, in my opinion, he was the start of the implosion of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think we had built a defense that could have been dynastic. And the fact that the only thing I blame Tom Coughlin for is outside of not following the rules, so to speak. And I get it that there was a lot of grievances reported, but I also think it speaks to the soft nature of some of these players and these younger players that, to me, I view it as they're crying because he put them to work, right? you know, they were getting fined for not being on time. He was mandating people come in to make sure that they were getting treatment. Like, I know how it sounds, and yeah, was it much? Yes. But enough to turn your back on Tom Coughlin? I think not. And then side with Ramsey, who disrespected Doug Marrone on the field, and nobody took offense to that. I did. He refused to play for us, faked an injury. I took offense to that. And I'm an FSU fan. Jalen Ramsey broke my heart. Jalen Ramsey's dead to me. So I don't know what, he doesn't have to be dead to you guys, but as a Jaguar fan, he represents everything that was wrong with us. Now, the you know, outside of that stuff, that the players didn't get along with Tom Coughlin, the one thing I blame Tom Coughlin for is not communicating the plan appropriately, him and Dave Caldwell. And what I mean by that is, when we started that rebuild, we overpaid for Malik, what's his name, Williams? Yeah, the defensive tackle. We overpaid for Malik. We overpaid for Calais Campbell. And we knew that we were going to have to replace those guys. So what we were doing was we drafted Taven Bryan. We drafted Yannick. You know what I'm saying? Like, we drafted guys to replace those guys so that we can reallocate the money. And so what ended up happening was, in order for the plan to work, they were going to have to hold off on extensions to Yannick and Jalen Ramsey and Miles Jack. Those were the guys that I'm positive they were going to pay, but they weren't going to pay them early. Blake Bortles' contract was coming up. And so once Blake Bortles was signed, which I also didn't agree with them extending Blake Bortles, I didn't think he played well enough to warrant it. And I felt like they should have made him play out the fifth-year option and then decide. But clearly the defensive players didn't know, either didn't understand the plan or it wasn't communicated well enough. In order for that money to be reallocated, because it wasn't just Bortles that was going to get paid. I'm sure all those guys were going to get paid. But Malik had to get off the books. And as I know you guys love Calais, but Calais had to come off the books in order for this to happen, right? We even heard Yannick balked at a $19 million deal that I'm sure he jumped for now. So I'm Duval till I die when it comes to this shit. You guys need to be too. And, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We're all football fans. We're all Jaguar fans. But if you don't agree with me on an emotional level, then you need to understand the financial ethics of it. And what I mean by that is Jalen Ramsey is one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the league. And I'm not sure when he signed that deal. I think it was 2 seasons ago, which means he'll be coming up for another extension within another year or so. And so here's the thing you guys need to understand. We're currently over the cap. Now, it's not going to be hard for us to get under it, but we have a lot of financial decisions that we're going to start having to come up on. And so what does that mean? We're currently trying to figure out who to cut and who to keep right now. And now it's Trevor Lawrence's year 3. It's Travis Etienne's year 3 coming up. It's also Tyson Campbell. We don't know what we're going to do with Juwan Taylor. We want Evan Ingram back. Calvin Ridley is on a 1-year deal next year. If he hits, he's going to command top wide receiver money. Trevor Lawrence, are you seeing what quarterbacks are going for? If he keeps progressing after next season, they're going to enter extension talks. You see, $50+ million. That's what quarterbacks are going for. Travis Etienne. Now, running backs are a little bit cheaper. I'm not sure I would pay Travis Etienne. Let's see what he does next year, depending on what he's going to command. Running back situation is a little more finicky, but you guys love Travis Etienne, right? Those are 3 major contracts we're going to have to figure out in the future. Not to mention Tyson Campbell, who I'm high on, and I'm not trading Tyson Campbell at this point for Jalen Ramsey, considering his production, the fact that we're grooming him, and the fact that he looks like he could be a top corner if he keeps progressing. He's going to command top dollar. So at least big money. So these are things you guys got to consider. right? We're going to have to pay our own guys. We're no longer a sorry team that has no talent and, you know, we can dip into free agency and just blow the money. Christian Kirk's going to be coming up on another deal in a couple of years. Do you guys like him? These are decisions that we have to make. I personally want to see Josh Allen resign. He's on his 5th-year option this season. So, just food for thought, guys. The economics don't make sense for us to make a trade for Jalen Ramsey, in my opinion. Now, unless you make an unpopular move, like trade some guys that we actually like. But, you know, we did draft Devin Lloyd and Chad Muma. Do you consider moving Foye for Jalen Ramsey? I wouldn't. I would rather fix something else. Like, if you're going to trade somebody that you love, like Foye or Lewican, I'd rather get a big name on the defensive line or get another big, ugly guy on the offensive line to help, you know, protect Trevor Lawrence. Just my thoughts. A lot of people are wanting T. Higgins. I don't see them going big for another receiver when they have to figure out what they're going to do with Calvin Ridley. I'm sure right now they're expecting to go big on Calvin Ridley. That's just the way it is. So I don't want to make the video too long, guys. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, share. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are, and let's keep this dialogue going. It's going to be a long off season. A lot of moves to be made. Keep your eyes on what we're talking about, what we're talking about here in these videos, all right? And give me ideas. Let's talk. All right? That's all I got for now. Peace.